Let's talk about your relationships a little bit. Let's start with Biggie.
Mhm.
Looked like he was your ride or die. Talk to me about this. Was he truly your number one?
Yes, he definitely was my number one. It's nice to finally be able to share this, but we had an agreement from the very beginning that as long as he kept me around, I would protect him. If I needed to sacrifice myself, then I would. And that's, it got me that far. I am happy with that, how that all ended. Would have felt bad if I made it further than him and he's feeding me all the answers. I'm kind of like riding coattails just because I know I probably wouldn't make it much further after that, just knowing how much everybody else knows. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't change anything about it.
And you guys didn't seem to think that Rick and Peter were working so closely together. What happened here?
The only reason I look unfazed by it and thinking and just thinking that they're not is because I had told Biggie so many times up until that point, bro, they're working together. They're working. No, they're not. Because Rick would come back and tell him, no, I haven't told him anything. Bro, what do he kind of found that out at the end where it's like, yeah, you lied about your pine cones. So now Biggie conceded, bro, you be lying out here. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of, I knew I had informed Allie. She peeped it just due to the things I was pointing out. But I mean, it didn't take long after Peter got there to see that him and Rick were in cahoots.
But Biggie, he was just the one who couldn't quite get there.
No, and because he's feeding me answers at that point, like I'm not about to hound you, bro. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna try to. Do you see? Do you see? If you don't, all right, bro. This we're gonna see how things play out.
And how about your relationship with Allie? Were you guys really connecting?
Well, to speak for myself, yes, I felt everything I said in my confessionals, everything. I stand on. It kind of came out of nowhere for me in a sense because I could kind of sense it due to how much interaction she wanted to have on a daily basis and what she kind of expected out of that. The her expectation was for me to just move down to Austin after the show, and I couldn't do that. That kind of turned into other issues that when it comes to just us interacting on a day-to-day basis that she didn't think she could handle. So I don't have any animosity towards her. I love both her and Mac. Was definitely floored by the announcement, which I knew before. They had let me know. But I mean, out of nowhere, that is power to them. I'm all about people being happy. If you guys are happy, by all means, pursue that. But definitely threw me for a loop.
Yeah, you just didn't see it coming. Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all.
Was there ever a moment in or on the bus in the game where you were worried about being in a relationship that it might hurt your game?
I think just due to having Biggie and kind of chatting with him and being able to prove that I put him above Allie. In a sense, Allie always knew she was going to get the answers from me if Biggie had them, and Biggie kind of knew that too. Um, and there was enough people around us, like Mac and Ty in the beginning, to have other enemies, to where it was like, okay, cool. So it's us three. Like this is how we're trying to rock with this. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, once Peter and Janae came, other people started getting closer and started forming kind of smaller alliances within just a couple people. But all in all, no, I felt if anything, we would be even stronger as long as I kept Biggie, next to
When
me.
Peter did come in, and obviously you saw him briefly at the challenge, but then he's on the bus and he says, I saw Shayne earlier, and you agreed. Was that the first time, though, that it was really coming out publicly?
Yeah, that's why Ty got so much like scrutiny, because it's like you're saying you're still lying, yet somebody who was in the exact same position as you is telling the truth. and him and the person that he met are confused. And then you got Janae like, wow, that's crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why it just didn't seem like it was even a good point in the game to try to lie. You know, if you're going to try to be sneaky about something, this ain't it. They were coming on the bus regardless.
But you hadn't brought it up like when you first got on the bus. You didn't tell
No, no, no,
Biggie or
no.
anything.
And then once he got there, it was like, hey, good to see you again.
Yeah.
Wait, so you guys met? Wait, what? So that means, and that kind of took the heat off me a little bit. It was like, well, he's telling the truth, but now this person seems like they're lying. Like, let's just focus on her.
So things got heated when you said payback. Got a little back and forth with you and Peter.
That still makes me.
Well, how were you feeling in that moment? What was this?
Okay, so full on, me and Peter had conversations prior where I had to basically get to the point to say, listen, bro, we can just end the conversation. We don't need to take this further and make it something that it's not. And these were things that he came to me questioning about in just a general life topic type of situation. But then the way that he conversed, I'm very quick to go, all right, bro, if this is, you're coming to me for something and then you're poking holes in what I have to say, we just don't even need to have this conversation. Well, that had happened a couple times. We get to this point on the bus. I'm very okay with shutting down a conversation. It got to the point to where Janae was like, just dead it. He's not gonna keep talking to you. Well, I didn't. Well, then I thought, huh. And I wish they would play this part back. Well, I literally am sitting here for a second and I feel like you can see it in my face where I'm just like, you know what? This is TV. Let's cause a little drama. And then, that's where kind of things started coming out. And then the basis had to be, Allie, the situation between him and Allie. There was a little bit of jealousy there, I will say, on my part, because there was a point where I thought or Allie and Peter were kind of somewhat in cahoots in a sense. I heard some things that I thought were them talking about clues and this and that. And at this point, we had all agreed, like, we're going to focus on trying to get them out. And then we could all go back to whatever we was doing. So that definitely played a part in it as well. I hate to admit it, but, he's a good looking guy. He's a great dude, in my opinion. Outside of the way that he converses about certain things.
And then were you a little more okay with him after he got rid of Mac and kind of kept you? Did things calm down or?
I would say they due to the argument not really being based on a ton, just like realistically, we ended up reconnecting and just kind of just chatting about things. And I think it did come after the Mac situation. I gave him his props on that, said that was a big man move you made, and not an emotional one. I got to show the guy respect for that, even though I don't like the way that he converses about certain things. That doesn't take away the type of person who he is as a man. And then, we had chats and, we had some deep conversations in Venice, just about his own personal, life and things like that. So, yeah, everything, eventually ended up being copacetic.
During the Battleship Challenge, I got really excited to see you pushing your arm. Can you talk us through how you use that technique?
Okay, so I learned this back when I was a kid in elementary school. One of my friends' moms was like really into the holistic side of life and the spirituality side, and she used that technique to find out what Pokemon cards were in the decks.
Oh, wow.
When I tell you, I mean, this kid had 13 holographic Charizards, 13, but I mean, it just to the point to where for me it was like she got to be doing something wicked up in here to be getting these. Because I mean, when I tell you books and books, and this isn't just, oh yeah, I'm going and picking up whatever, and hopefully I get it. No, I mean, this is, incredible. So I started doing it myself and just practicing and just seeing. Well, if you want to know, I do plan on doing a demonstration, but basically you let your arm relax. And if you ask yourself a question that isn't true, your arm will go down. If you ask yourself a question that's true and you just relax in your arm, it'll be harder to push your arm down. Crazy, I know. If I hadn't practiced with cards, and been like, oh wow, this actually works. Like, and you see, like on the show, that worked literally for the one. You know what I'm saying? The last one, Biggie kind of got in my head a little bit and was like, "Bro, there's no way that they put just one in a lane." So I'm like, "I guess okay, maybe. All right, yeah, just go." And then, and it happened. But anybody who is even interested about it, just start with your name. Say
Hmm.
your name is this. If it's not, you'll feel the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I live an intuitive lifestyle. I loved it. I spotted it when you were doing it. I've never heard anyone doing it with Pokemon though. That's amazing.
Oh, so you've heard about it before?
Oh yeah.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. Oh my God.
I knew
Oh, thank
exactly
you.
what you were doing. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is
Oh,
a
that's sick.
physical reaction to the truth or what's beneficial
Yep.
for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. This is great.
Yeah,
You made my
I was
day.
like, yes, bring it to TV. Let's go.
Oh yeah, because I get a lot of people that go, bro, what was you doing? Like it works. Don't knock it till you rock it.
That's right. That's right.
Oh,
Well, how did you feel this last episode that you go out on, is a little variation to the game, right? There's some more luck involved, some chance. How do you feel going out kind of out of your hands?
me being in was barely by my hands. You know what I'm saying? Like, in my opinion, I'm such a logical, realistic person on how everything looks. I could sit here and say, oh, well, if it wasn't for that, I still would have been here, or still would have been in there. Like, is that reality? Probably not. You see where I dropped my ex. If they just would have went off of that, I'm gone. So the fact that this was even a potential to me was like, okay, cool. I like this. Like, this is good for me. For anybody else, and probably not. If I was Peter, been a little salty. You know what I'm saying? He actually guessed due to the rocks and things. Okay, you deserve that. Like nobody else knew, not even with the clues. My man literally says Monaco because I know these rocks. Like we fly over here. So I feel like he's the only one that could really be that tight. But everybody else, if you just didn't know and you just thought, okay, yeah, because of how far we drove and where the direction I think we drove in and where we could possibly be, this I was really the only one I feel like that felt okay with it. You know,
Hmm.
yeah, everybody else was somewhat close.
Well, what is next for you? Are you interested in more shows? Maybe a dating show?
The dating shows, I don't think so. I would think about it just depending on when it popped up and exactly which one it was. With being a model, I have to watch for how I'm portrayed or how I portray myself. Um, because if I don't blow up on a show, yet I portrayed myself terribly, now all of a sudden I done killed my modeling career with no other, or I guess no extras on the TV side. So, the way that this last, even Love Island, like, was messy, extremely messy. And you get a following from it. You get all of this. It's great. But man, is it messy. And I don't know how my career would survive in that. But I'm all for the physical and like the social games. I would love to try to be on
Hmm.
traders, and or the circle is a good one.
Yeah.
The challenge, anything physical, you
Yeah.
know, uh, that's where I'm at. Or give me a little bit more time to prep, and I'll be happy.
All right. All right. Well, it was lovely to watch you, and thank you so much for your time today.
Oh no, thank you, Sarah. Thank you.